Well, all right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. We're going to talk about the new Texas Entrepreneur Network crowdfunding portal. We have a short tutorial to show you what we're doing, why we're doing it, and so forth. And want to thank you for spending a few minutes with us this afternoon. We will record this session and also make it available on the website going forward. So with that, let's go ahead and kick off. And let's look at a little bit more about what we're doing here. So for those who are not familiar with us, we are basically a group that promotes entrepreneurship in the state of Texas. We're named Texas Entrepreneur Network because we want to foster the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in the state. We've been in operation for 4 years, and we focus primarily on helping entrepreneurs raise funding. And that's because whenever we survey the entrepreneurs, fundraising is the #1 topic that comes up over and again. And so what we do is we coach on the fundraising process, and then we provide venues and funding forums to give entrepreneurs access to investors. And what we're doing today is showing you how we're going to extend our program to include crowdfunding. So what is crowdfunding? Well, for example, crowdfunding is basically finding investors through a web portal. And there's 4 types of crowdfunding that are out there. The first is when you have accredited investors seeking to make investments for equity, and that's an example of what we're doing at the Texas Entrepreneur Networks. You may have also seen other crowdfunding style types out there, such as prepayment rewards sites such as Kickstarter, in which people are making donations and either getting rewards or they're prepaying for a product, but they're not taking an investment position in a company. And this is open to anybody, of course. The third type that's popular is what's called peer-to-peer lending. And this is very much like dealing with a bank, only instead of having a bank on the other side of the table, is just another individual who is loaning money, and the interest rate and the terms vary based on how much you're raising, credits, and so forth. An example of this is SomoLend. You can check them out on the website. And then there's a fourth kind where they're just simply taking donations for charitable causes, and an example of that is Kiva. But in one sense, they are all crowdfunding because investors are making either an investment or donation through a web portal, and that's what we're doing here today. And I'd like to tell a story about why we are doing this. About 2 months ago, I was in Austin and I drove to San Antonio, and after that I drove over to Uvalde, Texas on the western side, and then after that I drove halfway across the state to Houston, and then the next morning I got up and drove up to Dallas, and then after that I drove to Waco, and then I came back to Austin. And it struck me as I was driving from Uvalde to Houston that it's a big state, and it's a very big state. And we need to do something to close the distance gap that we have here in the state of Texas. We have entrepreneurs and investors, but they're not all in the same place. They're spread across the entire state. And so what we're trying to do is set up a website that will let primarily Texas entrepreneurs and Texas investors come together to find each other on the website, and then offline we can follow up in many different ways. We do welcome deals from any location, but we're primarily focused on Texas at this point. So who are our investors? Well, I come from the world of angel investing and have started several angel groups and have now created a list of over 600 accredited investors, and it continues to grow daily. And these are primarily angel investors, angel groups, family offices, venture capitalists, private equity firms, and more. They are all accredited investors, which means they meet the requirements for making an investment into startups as well. They look for a wide range of deals. They look at early stage, they look at growth stage, and they also look at revenue-based deals. And revenue-based funding is when an investor puts money in and gets a piece of the revenue in addition to or instead of equity. And they cover a wide range of sectors. We have people investing in software, life sciences, mostly low-end medical devices, consumer products, industrial products, and even more. So how is it going to work with crowdfunding on our website? Is that works in different ways in different groups, but for us, for entrepreneurs, an entrepreneur simply submits an application, which we'll show you here shortly on our website, and deals that we believe are fundable are accepted. We don't take in deals that we don't think are not ready for investors, and we'll be glad to give feedback on what is fundable and what is not. But those that are fundable, we then place your executive summary on our website in view for the investors to review and express interest if they want to work on it. We plan to update the investors about your progress and status through weekly updates. So every week we're going to send out a message to the investors explaining what has happened in your deal since we had the last message. So as good things happen in your company, you want to keep us informed so we can inform the investors about the progress. For investors, they're going to log in as accredited investors to see the deals. At this point, we're not allowed to shop deals to non-accredited investors, and so it will be behind a screen that only accredited investors can log in. It's basically self-documentation. If someone says they're an accredited investor, we believe them and we take them into the site. As they look at the deals, if they want to learn more about it, they simply select the I'm interested button, and we will line up a conference call or a webinar or a funding forum or a face-to-face meeting between the entrepreneur and the investor. And as I said before, the investors will receive a weekly update about the deals on the site and what is changing and how things are moving. So what does all this cost? Well, fundamentally, Texas Entrepreneur Network is not a broker-dealer. So we don't take commissions or success fees or equity. We simply charge a flat fee to post on our website, and it's a monthly fee. For entrepreneurs, we're going to charge $500 per month, but you must sign up for at least 3 months. And our experience in crowdfunding is that it takes some time to get the word around, to have investors look at the deal. And if you only sign up for a short amount of time, there's little or no result. You must be up there for a couple of months or 3 months, we found, to get traction with investors. And for investors, there is no cost to go and look at the deals. So what else do you get? Well, as you put your deal up there, we're going to help you with your documents. And we focus on 3 documents: the executive summary, your pitch deck, your PowerPoint slides, and your 5-year financials. And when you go to talk to investors today, those are the 3 documents that are most often reviewed. We don't spend much time or any time on business plans or private placement memorandums, as we don't find investors using those to make decisions as much or much at all anymore. But for your 500, we will also look at your docs and have one-on-one coaching sessions about how we can improve those and make those better. And then also we'll coach you on the process for raising funding, where you go to find funding, what is going to get funded, what is not going to get funded. And then if you stay in the program for more than 3 months, we'll invite you to a funding forum or a cocktail reception where you can meet investors directly. So how do you get the most out of this program? Well, first you need to prepare for fundraising. You need to make sure your documents are ready, your pitch, your company, and you yourself are ready to go out and raise funding. You've got a strategy put together, you've got some validated customers, you've got a product that works at some level, and so you can check mark most of the boxes at some level in order to go out. If you're going out to raise funding and you don't have the company ready, it will take you longer and it will be a more difficult process. Second, you need to give attention to the process by prioritizing meetings with investors. When investors are expressing interest, there needs to be your availability to go out and meet with them and follow up with them. Third, you need to give the process some time. You're building a relationship with investors through this process, and it takes 3 to 6 months to build that relationship and close on some funding. It's very rare to get funding much faster than that. And finally, remember, we are helping you raise your funding. We're not raising your funding for you. As I said before, we're not a broker-dealer. We're simply helping you by making introductions and coaching you through the process. So what is our track record? Well, we've helped entrepreneurs raise funding for the past 4 years, and those entrepreneurs have raised over $65 million. If you want to see who those guys are and what they raised, there's a link on our website, or a menu I should say, called Funded Companies. You can find it there, and you can actually see who raised what money and when over these past years. So at this point, let's stop and take any questions you have about this before we go and look at the demo. If you have questions, there's a box on the screen, And you can just simply type in your questions there. I'll read them out and then we'll answer them about the process so far, and then we'll go look at the website. So the first question is, Kickstarter said my product did not fit in their category to be listed on their website. And that is correct. Every website, every crowdfunding portal website, I should say, has their criteria for what they put up there. And because Kickstarter is a prepayment reward site, they've got very specific criteria about what they will allow to be shown and what they will not. With our site, what we're allowing to be shown is what we consider to be fundable deals. You will get serious entertainment or engagement from an investor because you have all of the elements that they're looking for, or the basic elements that they're looking for. We cannot guarantee that you will raise funding, but neither will we waste your time if we don't think you are at all in the game for fundraising. And it's often the case that you need to go and work on your deal for a few months, and then you're welcome to come back and we'll look at it again to go ahead and put it up there. Next question is, what types, let's see, sorry about that. How do you compare contrast with Gus.com? Well, Gus.com is primarily a back-end software solution for angel groups. It's how angel groups share deals from one to the other. And if an angel group expresses interest in your deal, it's a great way to gather the documents, share those with other groups they might want to syndicate the deal with. But what we found is that Gus is not used very often for actually showcasing or prospecting deals. They have a function for that, but it's not really used that much in that way. So it's really more of a follow-up due diligence tool for angel groups is how that's currently working. Next question is, what types of businesses in this system are best suited for, and what businesses are your investors looking for? The three kinds of businesses that we see come through the most often are software businesses, whether it be information technology, mobile phones, social media, games. Low-end medical devices is another category, or consumer products or consumer goods. Those are the three most common ones that come through, and these are things that most investors can understand what it is. They're raising $200,000 to $2 million, so you're in the angel-centric raise. We have taken deals higher than that and lower than that, but fundamentally that we are looking for scalable businesses with good growth potential. And you've got enough of the product built that there's some customer interactions with it, so it's not just simply a pure concept. Just pure seed stage deals are really not part of what we're looking for at this point. And so how long will it take to find out if you are considered a fundable deal? Well, if you put your application in, and we'll show you where that is here in a moment, we can get back to you within a day or two to let you know if this is going to go forward or not, and then work through the process of getting you ready to go up on the website. And what is the fee for the website if you are already a client of Texas Entrepreneur Network? Well, we have an investor engagement program that you can come and join and work with us for 6 months, and if you're in that program, then there's no fee to join the crowdfunding portal. You'll be up there automatically if you want to be. And does it cost to put our application in? At this point, no. There's no fee to apply. You simply fill out the form. We'll look at that, and then we'll get back in touch with you to let you know if we can go live. If you want to pursue it, then we accept payment and then make your application live. So there's no application fee in this process. It's simply a posting fee. If you're chosen to go live, you just pay month by month. Next question is, please define what you consider to be a seed stage deal. So basically my concept of a seed stage deal is somebody with an idea and not much more. There's no product, there's no team, there's no intellectual property, there's no customer, there's no revenue. It's simply an idea. And we do get quite a few of those. And so what is a fundable idea is somebody that has built a product. Even if it's in beta, there are people using it, customers testing or trying it, there's interactions with it, and so there's something built, there's something of a team that's behind it. It's not just a solo entrepreneur, but it's maybe a 2 or 3 person team, and there's somebody building it and somebody selling it. And so, and of course, if you can get a few customer sales, that's going to be important to the investor as well. So my definition of a seed stage deal is somebody that has a great idea but really hasn't developed much more than that. Next question is, what is the typical range of pre-money valuations that your investors find attractive? Most investors that we see writing checks are investing in deals that are in the $1 to $3 million pre-money valuation range. And that means the company is worth $1 to $3 million before any investment goes into it. And oftentimes they've got a product, it's just entering the market, they've got a handful of customers, 5 or 10, who have paid for it, even if it was a discounted payment. They've got a team of 2 or 3 people, they've got some provisional patents filed, and this is the typical scenario of what we see coming through the funding forums. So 1 to 3 is really the range. We have seen people come in with $5, $6 million pre-money valuations and get funded. Anybody that gets beyond $6 or $7 million, well, that just has to be a very, very good deal to get to that level. Next question is, do you help in establishing what a company's worth? Yes, we do. We have a process that we can sit down and coach you for how you might want to come up with a valuation for your deal. Traditional valuation tools do not work in the early stage because there's not established customer sales, there's not discounted cash flows, there's very little assets, and those methods don't work. But we have another methodology we can share with you to come up with a proposed valuation. In the end, the valuation is a negotiation. It's not a formula, but you must be able to defend what you're putting out there in your valuation. Next question is, how many investors are actively using the site to look for deals? At this point, we are just now taking this to our investors. Because there was no deal flow up there, there were no investors actively looking at our portal. We do have 600 investors on the list, and those investors are engaged in our funding forum series. They come out and they sit on panels, they join webinars, they come to cocktail receptions, and those are the ones that we're going to expand and add this feature to. And one reason why we're bringing up this feature is that they've asked for it. Investors come to our funding forums and panels, and after about 3 or 4 rounds, they come to me and they say, is there a way I can get all of the information in front of or instead of coming to the funding forum, because their time is getting increasingly tight and they don't have time to come out to funding forums, and they would in most cases rather log on at the desk to look at the deals. So the trend is investors wanting to see more deal flow, and then with the deals that they're interested in, well, then they want to go spend time in a physical setting to follow those deals up. Next question is there a minimum funding dollar amount you are looking for? At this point, no. In our funding forums, we look for deals raising $200,000 to $2 million. But as the cost of business goes down, we're finding that people can still make high-growth, scalable businesses with less and less money. So I won't put a minimum on at this point. If you're only looking for a $50,000 microloan or a $10,000 microloan, then that may be a little bit too low for us, but we won't put a minimum on it at this point. Do you help with determining how much equity you should give up for a particular dollar amount of investment? And that's really the same question as the one who asked the question a moment ago about setting a valuation for your company, because where you set the valuation of your company is going to determine how much equity you will give up. And so we're going to try to come up with a methodology that will say your company is worth $1, $2, $3, or $4 million, somewhere in that range before the investment goes in, and wherever it gets set, that's going to determine how much equity you are going to give to the investors. So yes, we will help you with that also, and we'll have to we'll work you through what we consider to be the current market process. If there are no more questions, let's go ahead and move over to the site and look at it right quick, and then we're going to come back and answer any more questions you may have. So when you come to the Texas Entrepreneur Network's website, you'll see the typical buttons that we've had up there before, such as About Us, Texas Cities, How We Help, Investor Engagement, and now you'll see 2 more buttons up there. And the button that you're going to see first is this Companies button that I have highlighted here. So for deals that have been accepted into the program, and we place your documents, what you're going to get is you're going to get a tombstone box like you see here with the Dan, or another company like the ZRR Financial Group, and these are simply dummy companies, they aren't real. And what you're going to put up there, what we're going to put up there is the leadership, where they're located, what industry they're in, what kind of deal type they are, and then how much funding you're looking for, how much you've raised already, and then a short 10, 20, 30, 40 word description about what this is. If an investor says, I'm interested to learn more, they simply click on it. I just clicked on the screen, and it will take me to your executive summary, which has your full contact details. All your contact information is up there, your website, your industry. This is simply a standard executive summary format. Investors are familiar with that. That's why we're using it. And they can go through and read about the deal as well. If they're interested in this deal, they can click on a button to register interest, and that's going to take them to another place over here, in which case they can actually go through and edit the details about the investor can add more details about themselves so we can get back in touch with them. We do not yet have the investor login page up here, but in that page, when they go to this site, the investors will have to log in and self-declare themselves to be an accredited investor, and then they get to go in and look at all the companies that we have out there already. For those who want to participate in having your deal submitted up to this website, you'll click on this button here called the crowdfunding application. And what you'll do is you'll go through and you'll fill out this form. In many cases, what you're doing is you're cutting and pasting from your own exec summary into this format, and this will format it and put it over into that other page we just looked at once it gets posted onto the website as well. And then, like I said before, we're going to facilitate the follow-up meetings to have interested investors express interest in your deals, and we will also share your deal out with investors we think may be of interest but who are not actually walking through our website. So we'll proactively shop it to investors to make sure they're aware that your deal is up there and what you're all about with it. So with that, let's go back and let's see what other questions do you guys have out there. And this is pretty much what we have to show you today. We simply have the screen where you have all the information up there about your deal, and then you have the executive summary that's behind the screen itself. What other questions do we have at this point? So the next question is, when will the site go live? We plan to go live early next week. So if you go ahead and sign up today, you are ready to be there when it goes live next week. So it will be up shortly. All we have to do is add the accredited investors. We do have several companies that are in our 6-month program, and we will be adding those deals up there automatically as well. And are the search functions based on keywords? At this point, we plan to organize the deals so that people can find the deals just by going through the different categories. We expect about 20 deals up there. As we get more deals, we're going to see how the investors want them to be organized by sector, by deal type, by fundraise. There's a number of ways we can do it, and we're looking for feedback from the investors as to how they want to do it. And then, of course, we can put a search function on top of that as well. And the next question is, what do I need to do to apply? And to apply, you simply go over here to this crowdfunding page, and you go through and fill out that form, and we'll look at your deal and get back in touch with you about your deal being submitted to the website. And will this webinar be available online for others in my company to visit? Yes, we're recording it now, and we will put this on the website as a short tutorial to show people how our crowdfunding site works. So we'll put that up there. Next is, can we enter financials to do some projections modeling, or do we need to use spreadsheets to do that than just to enter the numbers? We have a separate template for 5-year financials that we're happy to share with you and for any work with investors. This can be an additional document that you can share with investors for those who express interest. For the crowdfunding application, you want to put in some very, very high level summary financial information up there just to give them a sense that you know what those numbers are. But the detailed financials are something that will be done in a follow-up meeting or after somebody expresses interest in the application. Typically, how long should I have my company listed to get traction from investors? Typically, you need to be up there at least 3 months. When people come to us raising money, we tell them it's going to be a minimum of 6 months to go raise funding. We would like it to go faster, but we rarely see deals get funded much sooner than 3 months, and most are getting funded in the 4, 5, or 6 month range. And the reason for that is that you're building a relationship with the investor. And when you do that, you have to go and talk to the investor, pitch them, update them, remind them, give them new information, and it takes a while to build a relationship and give the investor enough information that they have confidence that they fully understand your deal. And with that's why it takes 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And of course, holidays and summer vacations can slow things down there as well. Are there any other questions at this point? Do you have any demo documents or plans for reference? At this point, I don't have any demo documents or plans. We do have templates for executive summaries, and we do have templates for 5-year financials. If you want access to those, we give you those at no charge. Just simply request them. We'll send it to you, and you can use those to put together your executive summary and your 5-year financials. And then if you can do that first and come back to us, then we'll be looking at all of the relevant information you need. And if you want to take that and go on to your own investors or do your own work with it, you're welcome to take that as well. It's really just a service we provide, as we find if you can work with a template, you can get to the right format and the right content much quicker, and you can focus more on the content than the format. So let us know if you need those tools, and we'd be glad to share them with you. Can you see the executive summaries of other companies? What I coach our companies on is that the executive summaries should be only non-confidential information. There should not be anything confidential, because investors are not signing non-disclosure agreements. And so what we can do is, we can find examples to send you of deals, because it's non-confidential. These things get passed around, and there shouldn't be anything confidential. The entrepreneur who wrote that did it with the intention of raising funding, and so we need to be careful about what we share around in that respect. But in general, executive summaries are not hard to get a hold of and look at to see what people are doing. Any other questions at this point, guys? Okay. Well, if that's all we have for right now, let's go ahead and sign off. We look forward to hearing about your application and what you want to do with crowdfunding, and hope to see you up there on the website next week. We'll be following up with you to understand more about what your needs are, but fundamentally, this is going to add another tool to get your deal in front of investors. And of course, we'll be helping you along the way with the documents and the presentation and how it works. So we look forward to working with you. I want to thank you guys for coming out today. And if you want to have a copy of the templates that we talked about for executive summary, just simply drop me an email, and I will send that back to you, or send it to Jason at Texas Entrepreneur Networks, and either of us can actually send you back those 2 templates, and you can work with them. So by all means, request those in the email, and we'll send them to you afterwards. So if you want to get a hold of us, my email address is director@txenetworks.com. And another way to get a hold of us is to actually go to the TXE Network's website and sign up in our Connect program. If you sign up in our Connect program, we will follow up with you, and then we'll come back to you, talk with you about what you need, and in there we'll actually be able to give you the templates. If you go out to our website here, you'll also find that there's a button called About Us, and our contact details are in the About Us as well. So with that, thank you guys for coming out today, and we'll go ahead and wrap up the session now, and appreciate your taking time.